Okay, welcome back. All right, if you look at the textbook here, yeah, uh, today we're going to learn chapter 3, developments of financial. I think I put the, yeah, it's supposed to be here. Oh, no, too big. All right, let's look at the chapter 1, yeah. As I mentioned earlier, the things that you have to study already covered in the textbook. Now let's look at the overview of chapter. Actually, the three key decision in financial strategy is actually you got to look into detail. What is investment decision? What is the financing decisions available? And how and the last one is the dividend decision. If you look at the arrangement of the textbook, yeah, we look at the financing decision, and then we look at the dividend decision. The investment decision actually, it comes, simultaneously, and sometimes it will be at the back of the chapters as well. Because in order for you to make decisions on what kind of investment that you want made, yeah, sometimes organization they don't use their cash, yeah, extra cash to invest in a long term investment sometimes, because we have short term investment, we have medium term investment and long term investment. Normally we invest extra cash for the short term investments only, but then when we want to invest in a long term investment, normally company have to take consider other financial aid in order to generate to cover to cover the operations. You need to have extra cash, for example. In order for you to generate extra cash, not only come from the operation, you have to invest somewhere. The interest or the earnings or the yield come from the investment will be used in the operation later. And so because at the end of the day, the company need to pay dividends to the shareholders, that kind of things, yeah, kind of a rolling money, something like that, yeah. Okay, all right, then we have to look at the importance of financial strategy to entity. What do you think we need to consider about the financial strategy? Why is it so important for company to form certain strategy, just to make sure that is the company operates, maintain the going concern principles, yeah. If you look at the textbook, they say an entity's financial managers must plan their courses of action to achieve the entity's financial objective. Because doing something without having certain targets is actually brings you nowhere. Yeah, if you have certain objective, and then you know what are the things that needed for you to achieve that objective, and then you plan all the strategies, and then you have to evaluate the strategies, whether the strategies that you proposed before are really effective. If it's not effective, you review and try to improve the action for the following cycle or for next year, something like that. The key consideration is how should the entity generate cash, and what is the best use of these key finite resources. So it's all about cash, yeah? Because company can close down if they don't have extra cash to pay dividends, something like that, yeah. Companies can generate profits, huge profit, but at the end of the day, the dividend paid to the shareholders, yeah, the money that they have to support the operations is the key element. For example, should new investment be undertaken, and how large a dividend should be paid, yeah. Sometimes you can invest extra money, right? Sometimes you need to support the operation by taking maybe you want to invest, you want to have a new business or new subsidiaries in another company, another country. So you want to make an investment, so you should choose the best financial aids that available. And at the end of the day, you have to put aside the amounts of profit for the payment of the interest, for example. So how much left for the shareholders? You have to make sure that you have extra cash to pay for the dividends, and you have to have certain portions as a reserve. Yeah? These are the things needs to be taken into consideration. That's why they study this. You have to consider this as an interrelation, the interlink between these three types of a decision. You have to pay more attention to the dividends decision, because shareholders, they invest the money to get dividend. Yeah, if you don't take care of this kind of needs of your shareholders, just considering about the running operations of the business, at the end of the day, they will pull out the money and go and invest somewhere else. This is what you don't want. Yeah. This chapter identifies 3 key decisions in financial strategy and look at the link between them. So you might not, this chapter is not enough when you want to know the link thoroughly. That's why we have to learn next few chapters in order for us to really master the subject matter. And then second chapter, sub-chapter in this topic is the key decisions of financial strategy. We saw in the earlier chapter objective that entities usually have financial objectives that encourage investment and growth. However, before any investment decision can be made, entities manager will have to assess whether they have enough cash to make a new investment or whether additional finance will need to be raised. Yeah, maybe next year you have new project coming in and you don't have enough cash, so you need to pay dividends to your shareholders. That's why sometimes you need to take another cash. This kind of decision that normally business people will take. But not necessarily you have to consider about the external source of finance, but then sometimes stable companies, they normally issue new shares, yeah, so that they can have enough cash to support certain decision that are made. But then that's why we learned the Mille and Mogliani theory later on, whether taking loan from the bank or issuing new shares is the best option. It all depends on the interest rate offered, yeah, and the returns on equity and the financial status of the firms. Yeah. Therefore, let's look at this. Therefore, 3 key decisions in financial strategies. We have investment, what project should be undertaken by the organization, is the project is visible or not, can we generate money in the next 5 years, that kind of thing. When you look at the investments, not only how much we can get, but when we can get, whether it's visible or not, the duration, is it medium term investments or long-term investment. Financing, how should the necessary funds be raised, whether through borrowing from the bank or through issuing shares. Dividends, how much cash should be allocated each year to be paid as a return to shareholders, and how much should be retained to meet the cash needs of the business. So these are the questions, yeah, that you have to consider. These 3 areas are very closely interlinked, as I mentioned earlier. I think if you look at here, they say financial manager have responsibility for the allocations of financial resources to achieve organizational objective. But the important part is that they want to make sure that the investment made can be, generate profit or return. They need to evaluate. This is not like one day kind of thing. More details on investment decision, that will become later. Financing decision, as I mentioned earlier, for both non-current assets and working capital investment, the financial manager must decide on the most appropriate type and source of funding. This will include such consideration as the external to which requirement can be funded internally from the organization operation. This will involve considerations of dividend policy and tax implication. And then, what is this? If new externally provided finance is required, the first one is basically on the issuing shares, and second one is basically on taking loans from banks. Yeah? the extent to which working capital should be financed by long-term finance and short-term credit. These are the decisions that normally people make. If you don't have time, if you need money now in a very short period of time, sometimes company will take this factoring facilities from the bank, or any short-term loans. Then we look at the dividend decision. Dividends provide important return to shareholders and can be seen as indicator of success of a business. Of course, this is the main thing. Sometimes you have to make sure that the amounts of dividend paid is consistent, and then this is where the ratios come in. When you not only consider what the shareholders will, the existing shareholders are looking for, but then to maintain new investors to invest in the company is the main things that normally company have to consider. Yeah, I think I already explained the link between the three decisions. Yeah, it is clear that the discussions above, that the three areas are closely interrelated. Investment decision cannot be taken without considerations of where to get the fund, yeah, and then how to pay it. Do you have enough profit left for you to retain as a reserve, or retain for the dividend payment? Yeah, this is all related. So when you want to take the debt finance, whether it's cheap, you have to consider the amounts of interest that you want to pay. That's where the interest coverage ratio comes in. Normally, investors will try to calculate the interest ratio. I just want to make sure that we are able to pay the debts that we took before. Yeah, high amounts of debts taken means lesser for the dividends allocation for the shareholders. All right, we stop here before we look at the other session.